everyone. I'm Celeste Hudson,
And I'm Kevin E. Smith.
and this is Two Vets, One Mic. And today we have Tyler Baker here. I'll go ahead and let Kevin E. Introduce him to you all.
I briefly met Tyler in the Black Achievers Network group that I'm a part of. It's about buying another business. And so there we share a lot of information. Everybody gets their LinkedIn. So I've been gaining a lot of LinkedIn friends, and I look at profiles and I noticed that the first thing I noticed is that he was really active with life insurance, doing his thing. And the second thing I noticed is that he was a veteran. So I was like, okay. I was like, I think he would be really, really good to talk to. I think life insurance is very important, first of all. And I also think it's not something that veterans think about while they're in because we do have SGLI, right? And so curiosity led me to reach out to him to see if he would be willing to come on the show, and thank goodness he was. So, um, Tali, I want to first ask you about your journey. I know we'll get into the life insurance
Mhm.
piece soon, but how did you end up joining the military? What did you do, and what led you to get out?
Oh yeah, so my journey with the military started at Kentucky Air National Guard. I had spent a year at Murray State, and I came home that summer and I looked at how much I owed for those 2 semesters, and I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna cut it. I was already about anywhere between 12 to 15,000 in debt, just off of one year being at Murray State in Kentucky, and I decided that I got to find another route in order to not be in this type of debt. And prior to me graduating high school, I had met a recruiter from the Kentucky Air National Guard. So I ended up giving him a call, and we went down that path of what it would look like if I actually decided to sign on and enlist with the Kentucky Air National Guard. Saw plenty of the benefits, whether it was the schooling, in-state tuition. So I decided to take a year off of school in order to go ahead and make sure that school was paid for when I decided to go back.
Nice, nice. And what did you do?
So I ended up with the Kentucky Air National Guard. I was security forces. I was with the 123rd Security Forces Wing, and I got to do a lot of different exciting things. Went on 2 tours, both in the Middle East. Got to guard our current president, but during his first term when he arrived in Kentucky, as far as his political campaign, got to also guard Air Force Two. Got to be around a lot of great individuals from all aspects of our defense system. So,
Hmm, that's interesting.
So when you're Air National Guard, is it like something like how does it work? It's not, it's different. It's the state mission, right? But are you continuously on duty, or is it something different?
it's a little bit different. So it goes active duty, reserve, and Air National Guard,
Mhm.
and so we fall under the state, which means we fall under the governor. Um, so the governor has to sign off for us to do uh, any type of work or federal work in a sense. We do one drill weekend a month, and then we do 2 weeks in the field for summer as far as training. And then, of course, on top of that, I can get called to active duty or sign up for active duty whenever I so choose.
Mm-hmm.
And your tech school is the same, right? As
As
far
active duty, yeah.
okay, you
Yeah, we
go
all go to
you're
the
in San
same.
Antonio.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what led, are you still, I'm assuming you're out.
Correct, correct. So I
Okay.
decided not to re-enlist just due to the fact of what was currently going on. So uh, my re-enlistment kind of went in that ballpark around the Breonna Taylor situation. And I was
Mm.
actually called to duty in order to assist with what was going on in the streets of Louisville, Kentucky, which I was already very fragile on, just due to the fact that I went to the same school as Breonna Taylor, University of Kentucky, and I kind of already seen what was kind of fueling in the community,
Mhm.
and I just didn't feel like me putting on the uniform in that sense in order to stop something that was somewhat inevitable, I guess you can say, in the uproar from the community, but also extremely grateful because the time that I was, they had called me to help with the riots and stuff like that. About 48 hours, 72 hours later, um, uh, Kentucky Air National Guard and uh, the police had actually shot and killed a gentleman. He owned his own barbecue restaurant in downtown Louisville, and they was basically shooting paintball guns to get everybody to go home. And he thought that they were shooting guns because everybody was running to him, so he shot up in the air with his gun, and then of course they threw down the paintball guns and drew out actual weapons and killed the gentleman. He had been in that location for years. Everybody in the community had known him, and definitely a sad, tragic event that kind of happened around that time frame that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
But one that I kind of happy that I was able to say no in order to mount up, because I mean I would have felt like that bloodshed was on my hands.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Interesting stories you got there.
Yeah, that is okay. And so you pivot. It was perfect timing. You getting out because it was like a moral ethical dilemma there. Is from what I'm hearing. So you're
Correct.
able to get out. And what'd you do next?
I got out. I graduated from University of Kentucky debt free, and decided to head down to Cincinnati, Ohio. And uh, prior to me graduating, probably like 2 3 months before me graduating, I had took a risk and I drove to Maryland in one day, and I had met about 3 or 4 majority owners of Chick-fil-A, and had decided that, hey, let's try out the owner operator route of being a Chick-fil-A individual owner operator, and let's see if this could be a path for me. So I spent about from 2019 to 2021 in regards to Chick-fil-A, and shadowing and learning every aspect of it. And then COVID hit, and I had seen the drastic change in amount of numbers of locations that there was going to be opening. Um, of course, it changed the landscape for all sectors in the United States and pretty much globally. So at that point in time, I decided, hey, man, let's just go back to being a contractor. Let's go back to what I know. I had been on, well, not go back to what I know, but go back to the military mindset. I had on one of my deployments met an individual that connected me with Northrop Grumman, and went back over to the Middle East and worked two years in the Middle East as a contractor for Northrop Grumman.
Now I know a lot of people take that route, and I heard it's very lucrative. You know, okay.
You mean
Were you
like
still
right when you
doing
get out
security?
and go to work overseas
I'm
as a
sorry.
contractor? Yeah.
So yeah, I was still working
I was
as.
asking Kebony that sorry, I was asking Kebony if she knew a lot of people that take that route, if she meant like working as a contractor as soon as you get out and going overseas. Because it's, supposedly pays very well, and then it's tax free, and depending on where you're at,
Right.
there's that hazard pay or whatever. I don't know if that's changed too, but my dad did that when he first got out. Overseas.
Yeah, it
A
seems
couple of my
like
friends, my husband's security forces friends, first thing they did went straight overseas for a few years, and they're doing great now. Got that money,
Yes,
buy some houses.
that tax free is beautiful. I mean, you don't realize how much you get taxed until you get tax free. I'm just saying that right there. Like, I look at my paycheck now, I'm like, geez, $1,200, $1,500. That's my rent over
Yeah.
again. The taxes.
No.
Like, geez.
And that was something that I wasn't prepared for when I got out.
Yeah.
Because how hard taxes would hit. I was
Yeah.
like, this is crazy.
Mhm.
Okay. So you go there, you do some work for a couple of years, and you come back.
Mhm.
And what did you decide to do?
So I actually came back because Northrop Grumman had lost the contract.
Mm.
And at that point in time, they had separated it to three different companies, all under different umbrellas throughout the Middle East. And the bid wasn't the same. So, like the perks and everything that I was getting originally, I had me and another coworker was sharing a car. We had free gas, free room and board, free food. All this stuff was kind of changing. And the pay was also going to change too.
Mm.
So I had to decide if I wanted to be over there without the family. Sister was about to graduate. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go to the graduation, if I did say stay with the new company or. So I decided to come back and take a leap of faith and get into the entrepreneur realm that I wanted to be, what I graduated for. Took a leap of faith and I came back to United States and decided that hey, let's go full fledged into being an entrepreneur. Uh, and I opened up a smoothie bar in Bellevue, Kentucky, which is right across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio, in uh, East Borden, which is a gym in the Middle East, also known as LA Fitness. Um, and opened a smoothie bar inside, and it was good for like 6 months. Everything
Mhm.
was on the up and up, and then all I know is they're posting stuff inside the gym. We're closing April 1st. I'm like, this must be April Fools. Like what? So
Jeez.
um, like I contact the individual to verify, and they like, yeah, we're shutting down this location. You're gonna have to get all your stuff out of there. So I had gotten a rude awakening of being an entrepreneur in that sense. But prior to that, because I always keep my business options open, because I understand that. I mean, when we already where we will always be in fragile moments to where other people can kind of controls your stream of income. And what I mean by that is Exporter was controlling my stream of income by keeping that location open. As soon as they closed it, I lost a stream of income. So prior to probably around February, March, I had started actually working towards getting my life insurance license. And this came due to the fact that prior to me going overseas, I had been in Virginia. I was with my current girlfriend at the time. She was a travel nurse, so we was in Virginia for about 6 months. And one day we was about to go on a hike. It was such a beautiful day in Virginia. We hop in the car. I kid you not. I put my key in ignition and I get a call from my friend. That friend was calling me to tell me that we had lost a friend on the highway. He had got shot and killed drive by in the city of Louisville, Kentucky. He was on his way to work. He was a bus driver, and um, I couldn't believe it. I was surprised. I was angered, flustered. As soon as he said that, I just hung up and threw the phone.
Mm.
Like I didn't even
Mm.
let him fully get it all the way out because I was like, "Huh, son?" And then no. And then he called back, and my current girlfriend at the time answered it again, and I was like, "Bro, you playing with me, right?" My friend at that point in time, I want to say about 26, 27, and he had a 6 month old. No, his current fiance at the time was 6 month old pregnant.
Mm.
He had a son who was 4 or 5 years old at that point in time. So I'm like, no, this can't be true. Um, there's no way that we just lost my friend due to gun violence on the highway. Like, what happened? Like, why they shooting at him? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
Um, so, of course, about two weeks later, I'm flying in from Virginia into to Kentucky for the funeral. And of course, luckily he did have a policy through his job. The policy was approximately for about 10,000, 15,000, which was barely enough to really bury him.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, it took us probably 2 years in order to get his headstone, just due to the fact that he didn't have proper life insurance. He wasn't proactive. So not only are the two mothers dealing with the fact that they just lost their child's father and how that might affect their child, but one mother is about to have the baby, and they was already planning to buy this house. They had already signed on buying the house and everything. So now for her, the one that's pregnant, she's about to have a kid. She got to move into a house by herself with her other two kids that she already had, and she's got to deal with the upbringing of a new child by herself. All of which she has to figure out how to do this financially and stuff. So
Mhm.
um, that's one of the main reasons why I do what I do in life insurance, because I want to help families become proactive. I want to put them in positions to where, hey, we can truly grieve right now because the funds is coming, because at the end of the day, so and so was proactive to make sure that he or she knew that one thing is guaranteed in life is that we're going to pass away. But if I love the people around me, they're at least going to be good for the next 2 to 5 years without stressing.
Mhm.
So now we got 2 to 5 years to grieve. For some families, for majority of families that are in our minority, we don't have time to grieve, because not only are we trying to deal with grieving, but we also trying to deal with GoFundMe's to pay for this funeral.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, a lot of people think that funerals is cost is gonna get nothing's going lower in the
Yeah.
United States
Right.
as far as cost. Everything is going up. So like the average funeral back in the day, probably in the 60s, 50 was probably like $5,000. Now it's around 15,000 in order to have a proper burial.
Mhm.
So and a lot of people don't have 15,000 to just pull out the bank to pay for something of that nature. So I mean, I always tell people what we do here in life insurance is we're transferring the risk to the carrier. I'm transferring the risk that one day something is going to happen to me, which is inevitable. Like the other day, my cousin just got in a car accident, broke his leg. I have been fighting with him every time I see him, like, hey, every time you walk out that door, the risk increases that something's going to happen to you. Why not pay $15, $20 for $100,000? So guess what? If I get in a car accident, my leg's broken, guess what? My life insurance policy would pay for that.
Mhm.
Now I don't have any medical debt. Now I'm not going in there stressing like who's going to pay for all this. Because also right around the time that I got my license, another situation occurred to where a friend that I've been knowing since middle school, he's actually Cuban. He moved here when he was about 7, 8 years old. He has a gorgeous family, wife, two kids. He jumped out of a pool that he owns. He owns acres in Kentucky. He jumped out of his pool, chucked on a little beer, jumped back into the pool. I guarantee you he probably done this a million times. But he did not know that this day that he did it, that he was going to crack his spinal cord at the bottom of the pool.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So I'm talking to his brother, and his brother said the first thing that he said when he woke up is I'm pissed. I just put my family in medical day. He wishes that he at that point in time he wished that he did not wake up,
Mhm.
because now he has to be strong for his family, but also he ain't able to put money on like anything. He's not able to have any type of income
Mhm.
to really assist the family, because he just broke his spinal cord. He's not able to walk. Well, he's going through that now. Uh he's actually a tough survivor. He recovered severely well I don't know if he's walking just yet, but he's able to move some items of his body and stuff. But just think about if I knew what I knew before that occurred and I pushed that on him, hey man, you might want to get a policy for yourself. $1 million never hurts. Now you got $1 million policy to pull from to take care of your rehab, because his rehab is going to be 10 years, 15 years, self-care, all this stuff takes money.
Yeah.
Now, I'm ignorant to some of the stuff that you're saying, because how I used to understand life insurance was you can only benefit from it once you, or your family, because you don't if you're dead, but
Yeah.
you can only, your family can only benefit from it once you die. Like, I am unfamiliar with cashing out on plans, all of that. So how can you do that with life insurance? How can you get money? Is that whole life versus term?
So
Is it
everybody
like a special policy? How can you, yeah, how does all that work?
understood. So there's only two life insurance, right? There's term and there's permanent. So whole life falls
Mm,
permanent, right? Term, most people leverage a term policy because what else is 30 years?
mortgage.
Bingo. So if I have a term policy and I have a mortgage, why not get a term policy for 30 years to make sure that anything that happens to me, I'm able to pay off my mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how most
Mm,
people leverage that term policy. So what I call the pager is what you're talking about, where life insurance back in the day only gave you a death benefit.
Mm-hmm.
What we call life insurance now is the iPhone, right? Why? Because it gives me living benefits, cash value, and death benefits. So I got a trifecta.
mm,
So the living benefits, if I get in critical, chronic, terminal illness, I'm able to pull anywhere between 60 and 90% of that policy to make sure that I can take care of medical bills or whatever bills I need to take care of in that situation. Now, cash value is what you're talking about, to where you can pull from your policy. And this is normally used in products called index universal life and fixed universal life. And what this is something that's pinned to the S&P 500 or one of the index um, performing products on our stock market. And what the product does is it has principal protection. So if I put 100,000 into an IUL, I'm never going to lose more than 100,000 in this IUL. But what will happen is when the market is doing well, I get to chip in on some of the gains. When
Mm-hmm.
the market is doing bad, I just stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much on my graph, it's either going up or staying consistent, up or staying consistent. And what people are
mm.
using that for is for retirement.
So it's like when you pay your premium, the company is trying to make that money grow for you.
Nah, they're not trying. They're going to make that money grow for you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So when does it start? Like, okay, I got a couple of things.
Okay.
First, let me go back. It feels like, especially in our minority, right?
Hmm.
It's like we're always ill prepared for
Correct.
tragedy,
Hmm.
right? Um, Now I think this really is new in our community, because when I talk to my mom and my grandma and my elders, they bought burial plots years ago,
Hmm.
right? Like back in the day, like my mom has her burial plot already paid for. It happened when
Hmm.
her husband unfortunately died years ago, and she bought hers, and I had an aunt that had already paid for hers. So what happened? Right? It seems like we went from a generation that like really cared about that
Hmm.
to not so caring about that. And do you kind of have an idea of what happened?
It could be a plethora of different things. So uh, back then, let's be honest, the life insurance agents never looked like us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
We had 59-year-old Caucasian males knocking on our door, taking our premiums. They was putting us in the best products to benefit their pockets, but also to make us feel comfortable, right? So back in those days, majority of our elders was getting sold terms. And to be honest, and this is something that I communicate with my mom about, she's working on paying a for her burial and all that stuff. And like I explained to her, I'm like, there's no point of you doing that. If you have a life insurance policy and the policy is 250,000 miles, why would you pay for a burial plot when that's going to be around 20,000? That's not really hurting us to pay for that.
Yeah.
Like
So our elders probably overpaid for that plot.
bingo. But also the fact is majority of the companies that they was probably working with flopped. So you paid
Mm.
into a premium that, I mean, when the company went away, so did your burial plot.
Mm.
But also
Right. Mm-hmm.
But also the main thing that kind of scares people away, and I hate to kind of say it, is the Tulsa, Oklahoma situation. Uh, a lot of those businesses and people that got killed during that situation had life insurance. According to the evaluation of now to then, it was in the billions for that whole Tulsa, Oklahoma situation. And the insurance companies declared that as a riot, so they didn't have.
Oh, and they weren't paid.
Mm,
Wow.
Of course.
Okay.
mm,
Now, I do have another question, and this stems from Celeste. I don't know if you remember. Celeste, you sent me to this financial advisor, and I ended up giving her the boot
mm,
because she first started with, well, let's get you some life insurance.
mm,
And I was like, okay. And I didn't like how high the policies were in lieu of me already having SGLI,
mm,
right? And then I was like, well, at the time, I was working toward getting out of debt because I knew I was retiring. And I
mm,
was like, well, I don't really have a lot of consumer debt. And I was like, well, am I trying to make my family millionaires right now? I mean, because the policies that she was suggesting
Yeah.
were like
Million.
high. And I was
Yeah.
like, so, if something were to happen to me, $400,000 was SGLI. Then we're talking about like a $500,000 policy,
mm,
which I am legacy minded, right? Do I want my family in lieu of me not being there depending on my income, not having anything? Of course not. But she could not convince me that I did not get all this information I'm getting for you right now, right? I don't feel like I had a good breakdown of
no doubt.
um, taking money out against it and the permanent. And I just don't feel like I I had enough to buy in lieu of some of the assets that I already had.
Mm,
And I think if she would have explained that, hey, you're getting out, right? Like, so you're gonna have to get a new insurance at some
mm,
point, right? SGLI is gonna go away. You're gonna get, your options with VGLI, which I don't think is a bad, but I just don't think I was ever really explained about, like, what if you're injured, or
mm,
Yeah.
what if this, or what if you need to take a loan out against yourself? How does it work? Like, and I guess one of my questions is, do you have to pay the money back? Like, if you get critically injured and, let me take out 15,000 to cover, some surgeries or rehab, do you have to pay it back? What does that look like too?
So, so say you have a term policy, you pull 70% from that term policy, you just keep paying the premiums. Um, That's it. And then if something else occurs during that term policy, it just won't pay out what you already took out. And it's the same with index universal life or fixed universal life. So say I got $1 million policy, I have 100,000 in cash value. I want to pull out 50,000. So if something occurs to me now, my beneficiaries get $1 million subtracted by that 50,000 that I took out of this policy, and that's what they get.
So, and here's where I'm going to be really, I hate to say ignorant, but I really don't know. Say I get a, I don't know, $2 million policy, right? Or term, right?
Mhm.
30 year. And 5 years goes by and whatever I pay 50,000 into it. Um, is that all I can take out is 50,000, or does it, how does it work as far as a multiplier and stuff like that? Because, you're talking about somebody that broke his spine and he's able to pay for all his medical. And I'm sure he didn't put all of that money in there yet, right? He didn't have like $200,000 in there. I don't know.
So it's kind of two answers to that question. So a term policy you can't pull out as far as cash value wise,
Okay.
if that answers that question. So term policy you'll leverage for a mortgage or living benefits, right?
Hmm.
So um,
When you say living benefits, what does that mean? Like, I really don't know.
critical illness, chronic illness,
Okay.
terminal illness. So if I fall in any three of those categories, I can pull from that living benefit.
Okay.
So when people talk about leveraging their life insurance policies for other assets, that falls on the permanent. That means that I have a IUL, a whole life, or a fixed universal life. And what that is the amount of money that I'm putting in there is being compounded. Once it's truly compounded up to a certain point and I want to leverage it, I can. Guess what? That money's still in there compounding. So if I took
Mhm.
10,000 out of my policy, it's still 10,000 in that policy compounding.
Okay.
Now I have two options once I pull it out because it's technically a loan in order for it to be a tax advantage. I
Hmm.
can pay it back, which means that I'm paying back into my policy, which means I'm paying back into myself, or I can just let them deduct that 10,000 when I pass away from the living
Yeah,
benefits.
I like that one.
Did I answer your two questions? And if you need to re-ask
I
it.
guess I'm horrible with stocks and
Mhm.
it's about
And that,
compounding and
And
all
that's
that.
the beautiful thing about life insurance. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about none of that stuff. It's going to
Hmm.
compound for you. Because guess
Hmm.
what? The life insurance company has people that's doing the options, the stop tradings, and all that stuff. You don't have to worry about it.
Right.
You just need you see your policy. This is what it says. Bare minimum. If the stock market is not doing good, I'm gonna make about 2 to 4% back on my funds. If the stock market is doing well, I might make 8 to 10 or 10 to
Hmm.
12. Just depends.
And when have an appointment with somebody, how do you suggest, like, how high of how much money they should put into it? Like, should they get
Mhm.
500,000 or a million? Is it based off of their current home, what they, how much money they're spending now yearly, or
Mhm.
how do you?
That's a solid question. What we do is we go over a method called DIME. It's debt, income, mortgage, and education. So we
Hmm.
break that
Mm.
down and we figure out, uh, how much debt you have, how much income you have, how much mortgage you have, if you have a mortgage, and then your education. And then after that, we want to figure out how much you feel like is comfortable to live off of a month. Is it
Hmm.
2,000? Is it 4,000? If it's higher, then of course we need to go with a higher death benefit and dump a lot of cash value in there so that you can get those tax advantages when you want them.
Okay.
Does education speak to your earning potential in
Uh,
that
so,
equation?
so education kind of speaks to if you're still in education debt, uh,
Mm.
and then it also speaks to, according to your education, like bachelor's, master's,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
what ballpark you're supposed to be making a year. But also, and I cannot think, I went looking for this website uh, earlier, and if I can find it, I will send it to you because it's a great website to have. This website pretty much like tells you, say, hey, I'm a male, I have a wife and kids. It'll break down according to how much you want your family to have if something does happen to you. It also does the dime method and all that, but it'll break down how much life insurance you need in order to leave your family good for the next 10 years or 20 years if something does occur.
That's good.
Now, do you take into considerations people's assets when you're making that determination? Say, somebody has, very little, like maybe consumer debt
Mm-hmm.
or, outstanding mortgage. Or take, for instance, maybe a younger person, right? That they're fresh out of, college, just getting them a new job. How do you uh convince them that it's worth it? Because I see a part of this. I think a part of people not getting insurance is young is when you're young. I don't know if you want to think about this, right?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you're like, I don't want to think about it. I got my whole life ahead of me. And well, maybe it's just me, right? So how do you, because I'm thinking about my kids right now, right?
Yeah,
It's like, how do you approach a conversation with them saying, hey, this is beneficial, even though you might not see it yet?
it's a good question. I mean, and majority of the time is I bring up this right here to them. Like, so you're walking around with this, and majority of the time when you go to Apple and you pay for this, they say, "Hey, you want insurance?" And most people do it like this.
Yeah.
So you
Mm-hmm.
think that this is worth more than your life?
Good way to put
Mm-hmm.
it. Hmm.
There's a reason why when we drive, it's mandatory that everybody has driver's insurance. Is because nobody wants to get in an accident with someone else that does not have insurance.
Hmm.
Right.
So it's crazy that we have to fight with people to have insurance on themselves, but they're quick to have insurance on this product with ease when it's literally for, I mean, the younger you get it, you can get it at $10, $20. That's why we talk about the cost of waiting. And what I mean by that is it's best that 14 days after a kid is born, you get them life insurance.
Hmm.
Because at 14 days old, that life insurance can be $8 for the rest of their life.
Hmm.
Mm.
But at 50, 55, we're in the business of transferring risk. Who wants to risk that I'm accepting premiums from a 55-year-old? They've had all these health conditions that they're going to last for another 20 years.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody can calculate that risk without being the insurance carrier saying that that's probably not the best move.
I think that's another good topic to bring up. Can you age yourself out of, like, does it come to a point where you're better off without it? I think I talked to my mom, and she didn't understand. She was on the term, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, hey, it's time to re-up, but it's gonna cost you $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, what? Who can afford that, right? At this point, someone living off just Social Security benefits. Right now, you're talking about, like, I can't afford that. And now you got to go and hustle, depending on your financial state, hustle to find something at least for what, $15,000 just to cover,
Yeah.
burial. And you're not even talking about leaving anything for anybody, because now I just want enough for somebody to bury me, kind of thing. So
I'm,
yeah, is there a time where it's like you might as well just cut your losses and save $500 a month versus getting a plan? Is that?
Somewhere
yeah,
else.
it depends on the actual person. If they about to
Mm-hmm.
pass away within the next probably year or two, um, and everybody kind of knows it, then it ain't even no point because the courier they gonna find that out. So, like
Mhm.
I said, the higher the chance of them passing away in a shorter time span, the more they're gonna want in a premium. Um, but I also tell people, man, if the younger we do this, the better it is. And what I mean by that is uh, you can pay for 10 years and that policy can last you for the rest of your life. You can pay for 20 years, and that policy lasts you for the rest of your life. Depends on what you see for your family and how you want to set this up. Um, and then also, we got a lot of people that's placing their funds in 401ks, allowing these other companies to take risks with their funds and scared to really open their 401k to see how much they lost today or how much they lost 2 months ago. The beautiful thing about life insurance is that one is guaranteed, so you know for a fact that the money's going to go to your beneficiaries if something happened, and then also you can leverage it to get monthly income for the rest of your life. So I just recently set up a policy for myself. Um, that's going to be compounding. And basically, I pay on it for 10 years. And then whenever I want that monthly income to start, I'm getting paid like a military disability.
So it almost feels like a retirement plan too.
Correct. We have solutions for retirement.
Hmm. So one thing I want to pivot to that I didn't ask you, how is being in life insurance as a career? Right? Because a part of this podcast too is giving veterans hope and options of what they can do post-military. So how is being a life insurance agent as a career?
I can't really speak for other agencies, but my umbrella is called PHP, People Helping People. And under that umbrella, I'm with Leave a Legacy Financial. And what we do is we meet every Tuesday and Saturday to break down different topics of life insurance to build confidence of each agent and future agent. And it's definitely worthwhile, man. I network uh, daily with different individuals because this is a topic that I can talk to anyone about that's living, basically, about how to build generational wealth. Uh, of course, it is somewhat in the entrepreneur spirit. So, I mean, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good months, you're gonna have bad months. But this game is definitely about consistency. It does build and maintain some of the largest financial builders. And what I mean by that is it makes the most millionaires in this sector. So I'm constantly rubbing shoulders with individuals that are prior Marines. His name is Matt Sapalo, who is my mentor's mentor. He served being a gunny, and Marine Corps, and now he is running the agency with over 3,000 licensed agents from here to New York to Dallas, Texas. And so it's good to be around millionaires of that nature, to consistently being in a learning path, learning from failure, learning from strengths. But definitely still the entrepreneurial realm where you got to get out here and meet and network with people in order to build your brand.
Is that difficult? Anything that sounds salesy to me just
Mhm.
totally runs me off.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So is it hard to find potential clients? I know if you're coming into like an agency, I'm assuming that's just like a lot of people under the same umbrella doing the same work. Like, so I'm sure they give you some training and education. But when it comes to like you actually grinding it out, finding people, is it like word of mouth? Do you have leads? How difficult is it to find clients?
We have a system in
Mm,
which the company has set up, and what we do is we use our warm market, and we leverage that warm market to find warm leads, because everybody that we already know or come across needs these products, or needs this knowledge. And so I often tell people that I'm not in the business of selling. I'm in the business of knowledge giving. That's all I do. Now, not everybody's going to take the knowledge that I give them. Some people think that they'll be fine without it. And I mean, all I can do is wish them well. But I'm not
right.
in the business of selling anything. I want to give people knowledge in order
Mm,
for them to build that generational wealth from them for their families. Because at the end of the day, Yeah, in our culture, a lot of families are not leaving anything behind for the next generation. And actually, I'm in the same room where I asked Charleston White this question, who has $1 million policies on his kids and stuff like that, and has $1 million policy for himself, um, about like why he thought this was the nature in our community. And he was like, this is why grandkids don't know their grandfather or their grandmother. They don't know their names. It's because they didn't leave them anything. I guarantee you, if a grandkid gets something from a grandparent, they'll know that they'll know them for the rest of their life. It don't matter if they only saw them once or twice. They will know their grandparent for the rest of their life, because what that does is that gives that grandchild a 10-step head start. Instead of some people that's already negative 100 behind. Now I'm at least at the 10-yard line instead of negative 100 on the yard line, and still got to do 200 yards to get to the touchdown. So we have to set up our families and our communities to be ahead, because at the end of the day, we're in a society where money kind of rules the world, and if you don't have it, you're not really setting up yourself or your family for success. And if they're not in success, then they're not able to learn from the people that do it casually. Passive incomes, have consistent passive incomes. Why? Because one person set up a passive income, then the other person set up a passive income, the other person set up a passive income, and guess what? They left that to the next family member. They left this to the next family member. But in our community, we haven't really been doing that. We got some of our community members, like my great grandmother. She got 40 acres in a mule and was able to pass that down. And now my family is able to live on that land and just only pay tax.
Mhm.
But where did the rest of the family go? Did we forget about, okay, who's going to be the next pillar? Are we just going to stay here and just be on this acre of land, of which, I mean, taxes is increasing. So that's still going to be need to get paid every year. Like, but we got to
Right.
keep building on top of each other's generational wealth. Otherwise, it does us a disservice, because we're not leaving anything behind. And if we are leaving items behind, it's not assets, and it's not assets that's fully paid for. So we're leaving debt behind, which means the next person is stressed. So
I got
And then,
last question. So say I have a policy with Northwestern Mutual already, a little policy, me and my husband here and there. Can I go to another insurance company and get another policy? Are you able to do stuff like that?
yes, you can get as many insurance policies as you want. I was sitting in a conference where the speaker has 6 annuities on himself, meaning that he gets paid from 6 different policies a month.
oh well.
Who
Well, I'm
doesn't
trying
like
to
let that money keep dropping in the
agree.
account?
My problem is I think my husband he lowered ours, but you know, we were paying a lot
Mhm.
because I had a lot of money just moving out of one house and then combining our income. So I mean, he was just paying for his mortgage, and I'm like, I don't have a mortgage to pay for, because so that money was going towards insurance, and I'm like, we don't need to be paying all this right now. Like, this is crazy. Like, I need to be paying off some bills or something. But
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and I know he lowered it significantly. We ended up getting some money back. So now I'm like, okay, after I saw what happened to my mom and dad, I'm like, I need to, get it together. Probably bump this up. And we aren't getting any younger. So
Yeah, the best time to do it is always now. I always
yeah,
tell people, and I would love to. I mean, schedule something with you in
of
regards
course you would.
to. Hey, I'm
I'm
all
a-
about helping
I'll
people.
be leaning on you. Don't worry, because even you gave me a lot of information I didn't have before and helped me. I still have questions. I still don't understand it fully, but I have more, I mean, a little bit more foundational knowledge of it. So that does help. Because I get on TikTok or, Instagram, and I see all these people talking about IULs and, get this insurance to pay you. And I'm like, how does that even work? Like,
Mhm.
I didn't put in $100,000. I've only paid like $10,000 into it. So how am I getting all this money? Please explain this to me. I don't understand it. Um,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that's what you're for. So yes, the setting up some time with you. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
You have
And
anything else?
likewise, I would like to set up some time too. And then at some point, my young adult children
Mhm.
need to hear this too.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and I think because I think the younger you get in it, like if you can get in something younger, no health issues, and lock something in for the next hopefully 60 years of your life that you can borrow from, take an annuity from, they're in a much better position than even I am, right?
Mhm.
So no, I think the younger to have this conversation, the
Yeah,
better.
I'm in her 40s. I need to make sure I don't hit 50. No.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
definitely agree with that statement. I mean, the younger you are in this game, the better. So I'll leave off with this. A lot of people don't understand how the Rockefellers were able to keep their wealth, and it's because of something called the waterfall method. What they did was, is each and every time they had a new family member, they had a huge policy on them. The trust owns the policy. So when that family member wanted to open a new business, they don't go to the SBA, they don't go to the banks, they go to the trust, they pull out a loan from their policy, and they open the business.
Mm,
So now
Okay.
I'm not paying back an interest rate loan. I'm not paying back a high interest rate loan. If I am paying anything back, it's to me or the trust. So the money is boomeranging
Hmm.
instead of the
mm-hmm.
money that's being thrown out.
No one shares
So
that.
so
Yeah,
what
nobody talks about it.
yeah,
I've heard
yeah.
about that too. Like get a trust, get these policies to pull from yourself and pay yourself. Don't go
Mhm.
to banks and all that. Because of course, no one's going to tell you this. Got to really
Hmm.
learn on your own. That's how the rich keep getting richer. So
Hmm.
Exactly, exactly. I
they
mean,
know.
and I mean, if anybody hasn't taught us anything, the military mandated that we all had life insurance when we came in, right?
Hmm.
That should tell us something about life insurance right there.
Yeah.
And we all pay for it, whether we like to or not.
You know what I mean?
And
So that was
It wasn't a big
it
line
wasn't much.
item, but we all paid,
20
right?
bucks or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like 20
Remember.
bucks or something, but we paid and it really was like no questions asked. It's just what we do.
exactly,
But you
exactly.
Hmm.
didn't get to keep it. It
Yeah.
went as soon as you got
And
out. So
that
that's the part
happens.
that I don't like.
That happens with most employers.
Yeah.
It's some employers allow you to convert it, and some don't. But the thing with SGLI is that it doesn't have living benefits because
Mhm.
if you get hurt and you're in the military is going to take care of that.
Yeah.
But also, um, when you can't convert it out, you just got to get a new policy when you get out. The beautiful thing about what the military is their policies are reasonable, but they
Mhm.
only give you death benefit.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you get injured when you're out because you either need to have some type of Medicaid or something to take care of those bills. Otherwise, you're just caught in a ruck in a hard place.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Well, in the interest of time, we're going to wrap it up, but this has been a great conversation. It went like I thought it would, because it's so much of so many questions and just pulling from your knowledge. Did you have anything else, Celeste, before we ask Tyler if he has anything else?
No, we'll just get his information afterwards to set up an appointment. So
Mm-hmm.
start making some money for me.
Yeah, yeah. Let that compound interest make money for
Help
you.
pay my taxes. No.
Right.
I can't wait for income taxes to go away, but that's another story.
Oh God.
Well, thank you
Oh,
all for tuning in. This has been a wonderful, wonderful episode, and we will
yeah.
see you next time.